Hey everybody, it's Lynette with the Pampered Chef. Tonight we are going to be talking about our new latest and greatest, our quick cooker. And so a lot of you might not be familiar with the world of the pressure cooker, and I was definitely not. When I got my quick cooker, I was actually terrified of pressure cooking because I'd heard all kinds of stories, seen all kinds of Facebook videos on it. But I want to just share with you how nice and easy it is and how our accessories work and just kind of a little introduction to get you going. So with the pressure cooker, it has some major component parts, which is one, the lid. Two, there's a seal in here. So the seal is super important to be in place because this is what holds your pressure in, brings the unit up to pressure and helps it cook your food super fast and seal in the nutrients. So all your food has locked in nutrients a little more so than if you'd be boiling or steaming in your regular microwave or stovetop. And then there's the main pot, which is removable. So this is kind of your vessel that you cook your food in. So you can either put food directly in the pot to cook it. So if we were going to be making like a soup or a stew or even any kind of meat like a roast, potatoes and carrots, we could put it all right in this pot with some kind of liquid, turn it on to the setting of our choice. There's 16 different pressure settings on our quick cooker, so that makes it a little bit unique to others in the market. And then we would just put the lid on, select our food, bring it up to pressure, and it would just cook. So we use the main pot. There's also a rack, so the rack just sits inside the main pot to hold things up off the bottom of the pot. So we're going to be starting out some actually hard-boiled eggs in here is what I'm going to just show you how to work this. We're going to do the basic hard-boiled egg demo. We can also use our springform pan insert to sit on that rack and make a cheesecake in here. Super delicious. If you've never had a pressure cooked cheesecake, it has a great, awesome texture. It's super easy to make and super quick to be done. We also have our lifting rack. So our lifting rack is a companion piece to the springform pan or our ceramic pot. So the ceramic pot, say we wanted to make chicken and we wanted to make like rice or potatoes or something at the same time, but we didn't want it mixed in with our chicken, we could put it in a ceramic pot, and there is a silicone cover for the ceramic pot. I just don't have that out here right now. And then we just set this in on top of our food or the rack. And the nice thing about having the holder is then you have these that you can grab with our microwave grips and not burn yourself while you're removing any of your accessory pieces. So now on to the settings here. I don't know if you can see this, but this is just a dial that dials into whichever kind of food you'd like to use. So if we were going to do like pork chops, we'd want to put some kind of liquid in with our pork chops. So the one day I did pork chops and sauerkraut in here. So the sauerkraut and a little bit of water was my liquid. And I actually put my pork chops in here frozen. Absolutely rock hard frozen, right out of the freezer. Threw them in here. It was about 30 minutes for everything to come to pressure and be done, and the pork chops were fall apart tender. You can do ribs in here. Ribs take about 30 minutes start to finish. After you put them in, it comes to pressure and cooks them. You can make an entire pasta dish in here. So you put your water and your sauce in here together, put your pasta in. You can add meat with it if you want to. Now that's one feature that we haven't talked about yet is our sear function. So you can turn to our sear function. You're going to cook without the lid off here. It heats your pot up just like you were searing on the stove. So you put your oil in the pot. You can sear any of the items you don't want to start raw. So maybe your peppers, your onions. Maybe you want to get a little brown on your meat before you get it going. You're going to put it on the sear function first. Then add all your other ingredients in your liquid. Put the lid on and then select your other function, whatever cooking function you want, and let it go. Our quick cooker is unique that it also has a proofing function. So the proofing function is for dough. So you can actually make bread. You proof it in the ceramic pot. Goes through 2 proofing cycles and then you just bake it in your oven. You can also do yogurt, homemade yogurt on our proofing cycle. So we're going to start just with hard-boiled eggs just to give you an idea of how the setup works here and how that all goes. So I'm just going to take 6 eggs and I am just going to lay them on the rack in here. So just line them all around the top of the rack. Now, if you wanted to do more eggs than just 6, you can stack them in here, or our stainless steel colander set. The small colander actually fits in here really, really nice. And you can fill that up with as many as 18 eggs. Now that's the other thing with cooking with the quick cooker that I was surprised about, because I didn't really know anything about pressure cooking, is that no matter how much food you're cooking, if we're doubling or tripling a recipe, if it fits in here to the fill line, that's okay. We're going to add our water, so just a cup of water in with our eggs, and that goes in the bottom. So we've got the rack with the eggs, and then we've got just the water in the bottom. So that's what we've got going on in there. So now we're going to work on the functions here. So we are going to put our lid on. I don't know if I can do it backwards here or not. So we're going to put our lid on, and you hear that little chime. And so we've got our lid on secure, and we're actually going to be using the manual setting. So that's right over here. We're going to do custom, and then we need our time to be 12 minutes. Oops, 12. And then we just hit start. So as your quick cooker is working, you're going to see this down here doesn't have the minutes on it right now. That means your quick cooker is coming to pressure. So that means the inside's getting heated up. It's getting ready to go. So if you have really cold ingredients, like a frozen pork chop or something, it's going to take longer to come to pressure than it would if you had them at room temperature when you were starting. As your unit comes to temperature and gets the pressure up in there, once the pressure is up, you're going to see my 12 reappear in here. And so then my 12 will start counting down as it cooks under pressure. Now when it's done, it will beep. And then you have the choice with the pressure cooker of, I gotta get my pressure valve closed here. You have the choice with the pressure cooker to either manual release your pressure or let it naturally release. So what I've learned is a lot of things you want it to just naturally release if there's a meat involved, because you want it to continue to cook just a little bit longer with the meat and let it natural release for a while before you do a hard release. Now something that you don't want it to keep cooking, like a pasta or a rice or something like that, you're going to want to push the button on the top. I'll show you what the top looks like here. So this is your steam valve right back here, and you just want to make sure that's lined up and pointed this way, as this is where the steam releases. It releases away from you, because normally you'd be on this side. And then this is the pressure valve, so when you do a manual release, you push this down and the pressure will come out. This over here is your little ready valve, so when it's down, it can be unlocked. There's no pressure in there. And when it's under pressure, this red button here will pop up, and that will tell you that there's pressure going on in there. So as we come to pressure, a couple of the other safety features of our quick cooker is our cooker stays pretty cool to the touch. It does have handles down here, so if you need to move it, not while you're cooking of course, but from place to place in your kitchen, it's very easy to do that. And then of course, just the electronic readout and the dial and the custom settings here are very nice and easy to use as well. So the thing I was the most terrified of was the pressure buildup, because I had in my head that was going to be like a big scary ordeal going on here, which it really isn't. You can hear just a little bit of a kind of sizzle in there as it heats up the water and starts to steam, but you're not hearing like a crazy buildup of pressure in here. And then when there is a manual release, when you hit the button, there is a big burst of steam that comes up. So you don't want to put this underneath your cabinets or anything. You want to give it space to be able to dissipate the steam. So with the quick cooker, in addition to being able to get the accessories that come with it, you also get this little guide, which has been my Bible here, which is the Quick Cooker Cooking Guide. And right inside, it knows you might be kind of a novice at quick cooking. So it's got 3 easy ways to get started. It's got some great recipes here to try. So one is the eggs, just like what we're doing right now. One is our salsa chicken, which is super easy. You can use your chicken either frozen or unfrozen and throw it in there. And then also making beans in here. So I know anytime I ever use beans, I use canned beans just because they're so much easier to use, because they're already soft and cooked and you don't have to soak them, you don't have to boil them overnight. Super easy to use. Well, I have started going back to using dried beans because it's so easy to do beans in the quick cooker. They literally take like 28 minutes for beans. So that's your getting started guide, just a few easy, super fast, quick get started ideas. tells you here like all your beans and legumes, all your grains and rice, and then it moves into all your vegetables, which I have to tell you, we've done several different kinds of vegetables in here, and the vegetables in here are amazing because it locks in that flavor so fast by cooking it so rapidly, and it also gives it just a really nice texture. So carrots in here are so good. They're so much better than carrots on your stovetop. Now you're starting to hear the pressure start to go, and a little tiny bit of steam's coming out here. So what that's doing is my pressure valve, remember the little red valve, is getting to where it's building that pressure. It's going to pop up and lock pretty soon here. So it's getting real close to that. And then once that pops up and locks, we'll be at pressure, and you'll see this start to count down my time. So also in the guide, it tells you about your meats. So it gets you started with the meats, how to do meats, and it's really just a trial and error. But a roast in here, you can do a whole roast in here for like 30 minutes, and it is tender, follow powder, juicy. That was the one thing with the meats I could not believe, but pressure cooking the meats, they just get so tender and fall apart. And especially when I was really skeptical was cooking meat from frozen to final product, because I thought somewhere in there we're going to lose some of the tenderness and the quality of the tenderness, but we did not. It was amazing. And then all kinds of recipes. So like our Parmesan chicken pasta I was talking about, there's beef stew, there's chili, there's cheesecake, there's chocolate pudding in here, salmon with fresh green beans, and there our valve went and just popped up. So now we're at pressure. So in just a second here, you'll see that starting to count down our time once it comes to pressure. The red lentil and spinach soup, this is amazing for soups. Total 1 pot meal you're doing here. And also, I'll show you a picture of these barbecued ribs. These have been a huge phenomenon. I swear all the stores must be selling out of these because all the Pampered Chef consultants have been trying these out. And then you do just barbecue sauce, and root beer is the secret ingredient to the ribs, actually. But the pasta's been great. Our cheddar broccoli risotto is another one that we tried. So you make the rice and the chicken, you saute it all right in here, and then just amp it up. Throw your broccoli in, and you've got a complete meal ready to go. That's the other thing I like about this. So if we had our meal, our dinner time meal in here, we've got it going now, it's cooking. We can walk away and go do whatever else we want, and we can have everything in here. We can have the ceramic pot in here with our potatoes, our rice, whatever, or we can have an all-in-one pasta dish and everything just going all in one pot. So you may, oh yep, there goes our time. You may be looking at the quick cooker and you may think, oh my gosh, that's something I really need to have in my kitchen. But you look at the price tag and you're just like, oh, it's so expensive. So what I'm going to tell you is if you've ever taken your family through fast food, you can get this for literally 3 trips to fast food. In the month of September, if you host a party, which hosting a party just means you're gathering $200 in orders, maybe you want to have me over and have me cook some actual food you get to taste in the quick cooker, you can get this for just $96 as a hostess. Now, I know that some of you are thinking, I already have one of the competing brands of the pressure cooker. I have heard of that. Those are less expensive. Here's what I'm going to tell you is I've talked to people who've bought some of the other pressure cookers, and they may not be using them because, number one, they're not really familiar with it. They're a little nervous to get started. So with the Quick Pot, you also get me. So any concern that you have, if you want to have me help you get started with it, I am happy to walk you through that, either via YouTube video or via Facebook Live, and you're going to get wonderful service because when you invest in your own quick cooker, I want to make sure that you're like me. From the minute it's come into our house, we're using this 3 to 4 times a week in our house to make fast, healthy dinners every night. So that's just a little bit about our quick cooker. I'm going to let our eggs cook down. Once our eggs are done at pressure, we'll just hit the release valve. We'll release the pressure. We'll pull them out and we'll just submerge them in an ice bath, and we'll have the most awesome to peel hard-boiled eggs you've ever had. So everybody, one last final word is you may have seen the offer on Facebook. Pampered Chef wants every kitchen in America to get one of these quick cookers who wants them. So they have actually come up with a $29 business starter kit. What that means is you can do what I do for only an investment of $29. So that for sure is less than a fast food trip for the family. You can get your quick cooker by submitting just 3 to 4 parties in your first month. You get this absolutely free, plus a paycheck. So it's a total no-risk deal to give us a shot if you've ever thought of it, if you've ever been on the fence, if you've ever been like, oh, kind of like that Pampered Chef thing, but I don't really want to spend $100 to get started. You can check us out for just $29 this month. So message me if you're interested. And I hope you've learned a little bit more about quick cooking and the pressure cooking. And stay tuned to my business page because I'll be sharing more about this all through the month of September as we kick it off here.